So it seems that this word mental health is this big buzzword nowadays, and people are talking about it. Well, how to improve mental health, and don't be ashamed to talk about mental health. And what's so frustrating about this is, what do you actually do to improve mental health? Like, like step by step, like practical ways of doing this. And I really do think that I have two ways that I've been thinking about lately on how to, improve mental health, and I want to share these ideas with you. And the first one is really, the more honest you can be, the better. And this really, now I'm going to give you a couple resources as well because these topics are kind of deep. This really comes from a book called Radical Honesty by Brad Blanton. I'm pretty sure it's Blanton. And he was a therapist, and funny enough, in Washington D.C., and he did all this, therapy stuff on people. And his whole, you know, thing was that the reason people are messed up in the head is because they lie. And it's not that simple. There's different levels of lying, okay? And we live in this society now where, with social media and dating apps, and trying to fake it till they make it. And there's a level of fakeness going on with people, and it's deep. It really is. And I have to think about it myself, is come up with these titles that are clickbaity, because when it comes to social media, things are all about packaging and everything. And there's levels of honesty, and I think it's such a great book, and I highly encourage you to check it out. But I think that's one element of mental health that I think is very powerful, and I think it's really, really big. And I haven't, to be honest with you, I haven't read that book in a long time. I was just kind of thinking about it. It's how about, and it gets way deeper into honesty. Like, if you don't tell someone the truth, that's a form of lying as well. So it's really profound, that book, and I think that it's great for mental health. And he was definitely the therapist. And the other two thing I've been thinking about is a book called Quit by Annie Duke, who was a poker player. I've been thinking about this in my own life, and again, I'm not terribly old. I think I'm 44, and some of the things that I've struggled in throughout my years, in life, is staying with things too long when I should have quit. And there's a lot of ego involved. There's a lot of pride in giving things up. And this has to do with a lot of things, like relationships. How many people have stayed in relationships when they should have quit? I know I have, a bunch. Same thing with jobs, right? That was one of the hardest things I ever did, was quit a job. And it was like your social network there to say, I'm out, It's really, really hard. And same thing with activities. Think about drugs. I mean, it's so hard to give things up. And this book is really great too, because it talks about just different stories, different, that she's experienced with, like, these people climbing up Mount Everest, and there's the halfway mark, and it's very hard to quit when the peak is right there. And if they didn't make it back, there was a good chance they would have died. And all these other, crazy stories in that book. Now, I will say that sometimes grit is another thing. We have to stick things out, and some people quit way too early on things. And I'll give you an example. A long time ago, I hiked the Pacific Crest Trail. And I started from the Oregon border all the way to Mount Hood. And, the first day I sprained my ankle, and I kept going with it. I'm glad I did. But eventually, my plan was to go all the way to Canada, and it was a great experience for mental toughness, and it's just for discipline and having a schedule and that routine and keeping at it. It was such a empowering thing. But to be honest with you, I ran, my equipment was garbage. I started with a Bivel bag because I was cheap, and it had holes in it, so I was freezing at night, and there was fires up above. So there was these warning signs that I should probably quit. I'm glad that I did. So that's another form of that book, Quit, too. And your little inner voice that tells you things aren't working out. That's when you should probably stop and reassess things. And this has to do with business. And she talks about this in this book as well, where these, startup, they'll go at it for crazy. There's no way you're going to make money at the dang thing, so you should just give up. But, people, their ego is involved and stuff like that. So it's another great book, and I think it does help with mental health as well, because I've been struggling with a lot of things with giving things up, like platforms, for example, where I'm just so angry at this platform, but to be honest with you, I'm just this free traffic whore where I want free traffic to my website, so I'm using the platform. And then I'm getting angry at it. So I know this is not worth it. I should step back and do something else and not do it. That's another thing with mental health, with just quitting things. And I think if you stay with things, it can help you with your mental health by giving things up if they're not working out for you. And these are obviously deep things. Each person has to look inward as well. But I think those two tips can really help with mental health. And I'm not perfect at all. I'm trying to improve about it as well. But I just want to share this with you, and it might have been somewhat helpful. And that's pretty much about it. I don't want to ramble anymore. So if you like this video, maybe subscribe, or like it. And yeah, I wish you the best. Okay. All right. Bye.